Hello everyone and welcome. This stream will be showing you, let's see, do I want to invite someone? But this stream will show you how to make this plane in Plane Crazy. And I figured I would show you what it does first. So if you guys really want to get a look at it, I'll just turn off shaders. This is what it looks like. And one of the cool factors is it can vertically take off and it's insanely fast. So I'll go ahead and put the gear up. And then we'll start off slow, then we'll start going faster as we turn. And then here we go. Now we'll hit it. And then there you go. It's insanely fast. It's a little wobbly because it's really fast. I mean, I mean, like you're not even seeing the full speed either. This is 700 below the max speed. Now we're going max speed. When you turn, you're usually going a lot slower than the speed it normally goes. But it feels fast because a lot of the planes do that. So it's kind of a cool alien looking plane. I've made a few of these. It does have guns. You could add them. So I added them because I figured it would be pretty cool to have in PvP. And yeah, that fin is supposed to be there. It's for stabilization. So you could see it and it looks kind of weird, but it's there and it makes the plane look fine. I don't notice much of a difference. But it's just super fast, and then the vertical takeoff and landing was one of the cool parts. So I'm going to start slowing down. It's pretty good at flying slow as well. What I mean by slow is it could go like 200, I think. Right now we're going about 150, and seems to be performing as well as I want it to. So we're just going to dip down a little bit, and then turn off. And now it is a gyro doing that, making it go up and down. Or not making it go up and down. It's a gyro making this thing, like, go vertically. So it's only able to face this direction, which is a little annoying. Because if you're trying to design something that's not facing that direction, like, gyros, yeah. But it turned out well. There's a hatch, too, if you need to get out. Color scheme is really cool. You could really have any colors. So yesterday's live stream, I came up with a few color schemes you could use. Here is a blue and like teal color. I think this one looks like really like an alien ship. And then here's another color that I thought was interesting. It kind of looks like a bug more that I look at it. I thought this one was a little interesting. But those are the colors for the jet, so I might as well like start making this jet. So I'm going to do what I usually do, and I'm going to shove this to the side, and then I'm kind of just going to copy it over here. So to make this jet, it's actually not that big, so it's not going to take up too much room. And it's not too difficult, I don't think. I mean, when I was making it, I made it within like 2 hours. And I thought it was really cool, so I figured I'd make a video on it. Boom, there you go. So you need a wedge 1x4, half wedge down 1x4. Then you need, I think it's a normal wedge from what I remembered. Yeah, normal wedge 1x5 to go right above it, like that. And then go ahead and get some half blocks out. 1, 2, 3. And then get another wedge. 1, 2, 3, 4. A wedge 1x4 this time. Put it like that. And then get a half wedge down again. And I think you want this one to be 4 as well. And then now we're going to make our first compression lock tower. And most of the compressions have these settings, and I'll probably tell you if they don't have those settings, but most of the time they're these settings. I would recommend using these settings because they make the compression blocks invisible. Boom. And then I need 3. Oh, hello. 2, 3. I'm making the stream. Yep. Anyways, now we need a wedge 1x5, or a triangle wedge 1x5. Hello. Yeah, you need a triangle wedge 1x5, and then you need a triangle wedge 1x4. And that goes below it, down here. And then I think it's the same on the exit as well. Anyway, yeah, they're gonna go build a tank. Not there. Nope, not that. You don't want the 4, you want the 3. And you want to place it like that. It's kind of an interesting design, okay? And then triangle wedge 1x4, I think. Or, no, it's 1x5. That's different. So triangle wedge 1x5 right there. Over here figuring out, oh, that's different. And then quarter wedges right here, as they call them now. They never used to be called quarter wedges, and I misplaced that block. So I gotta replace it. So there we go. So now we got that. And that's pretty much the front. Now we're going to work on getting some of the essentials within the front of the vehicle. One of the essentials is being the gear, the lifting system to make it go up and down, and then you also just need to add some blocks for it to be leveled out. Now these are the ones where they're different. These are when you can really do anything. You just need to make sure. I would recommend transparent. Oops. No, I messed that up. Undo. So, 0. And I gotta make sure that's right, because I think I messed that up. Yeah, I did. So, that needs to be pulled up 0.5. Okay, so, even I'm a little confused on my designing process. So now you're gonna grab... What in the world? Yeah, that's what I messed up on. Don't think I messed up anything else, did I? No, I don't think so. Here, I'll... Sorry, I'm a little confused. I feel like I messed up when I didn't. Tutorial. I'm gonna go back to Alien Tech number 2, just the plane. No, that seems right. Yeah, that's right. I don't know why I'm thinking that's wrong. I felt confused there. Very confused. Okay. But anyways, you want these settings for the compression blocks. Confusion. And it doesn't really matter how you orientate them, so you could kind of just put them in the same orientation the whole way. The only one where it matters is near the end of the blocks when you actually have to put it down. And then 1, 2, 3. And then this is the one where it matters. That's where you're gonna go G, minus, and then all the same usual settings. And then now we're going to grab hover thrusters and pistons. So start with the piston, grab it and put it like that, and then I'll go ahead and get the settings. Here's those settings. And then you need a density block, wherever that is. Question mark? Oh no, it's over here in these. I don't know why they're in here. Or not a density block. I feel like it used to be called the density block. Apparently it's a blast block. And then we could start coloring things, because coloring in the end can be a little difficult without drag selects. Because that's what I use. I use drag select. But you guys might not have that. So I'm going to just start coloring it now so you don't got to deal with the drag select coloring a bunch later. And then these don't matter because they are invisible, but these do matter. Wait, that's weird. That's really weird. What? Okay, so never mind. So these are all not the same. So the top ones should be transparent, but the bottom ones should be can collide and not transparent. I don't know why that is. Actually, I do know why that is. It's because we need to have the front. Okay, well, we figured that out. Now for the density block, it needs to be 5. I remember that. Yeah. And now we can work on the rest of the build. So then you're going to want to grab more half blocks. And you're going to go 2 half blocks this time. So not as many. And then this is where it gets a little confusing because there's an interior. Not an interior, but this is the inside. So it's getting a little bit confusing for where I need to put stuff. And then that's a wedge 3. Okay. I'm over here looking at what I did. Okay. I get it. So then you're going to grab a wedge 1x3 like that. Just creating the outline base shape of it. And then you're going to grab a triangle wedge 1x3. And then finish off the window. Front window. There you go. He's making an F-22. So finish off the front window. I think, yeah, that's a cool F-22. Then you're going to want to grab a wedge 1x1 and then a 2. Yeah, a wedge 1x1, a wedge 1x2. So 1x1 goes there, and then get a 2, place it like that, and then that. So it's a very interesting design, as you can see, because you got the long nose that sticks out. Now we can go down. I think, no, that's a full one, and that goes 4. So then wedge 1x4, right, oops, not like that, don't do that, like that. Then grab wedge 1x3s, not sure why they're 1x3s, but place them like that. And then you're going to want to grab wedges and 3 wedges like this. Oh wait, no, not wedges. Okay, so wedge 1x2s. Okay, that makes sense. Wedges wouldn't really fit the mood. So I feel like there's something in the middle of this. Other than the seat. What? Okay. This is a little bit confusing. Oh, yes. That's right there. So, there it is. That's what the thing was. Okay, so then you're going to grab a helium block. I knew there was a helium block somewhere in there, and that it would throw me off. I just didn't know it was right there. Okay, then grab a helium block. The inside isn't the best looking. Don't judge it. It's okay. Then you're going to, yeah, the helium block, and then the different thing is, it's kind of hard to have a floor, but you're going to place your main pilot seat there, okay? Not your other pilot seat. And then you're going to that pilot seat's not actually attached, so yes, grab plates and line the bottom like that to attach. And then I presume we should keep coloring. And there is neon in here, but I would reuse just the lightest of the reds. And also, yes, for the gray, you're going to want to do 54, 54, 54. For red, you're going to want to do the 255, 0, 0. That's for reds. So make this, and then if you don't have the neon material, you still got to make the cockpit red. But if you don't have it, you don't need it, because it still looks pretty good without neon, but I'm going to add neon because it makes it much elevated for me in the looks. So just grab this, and then color the rest of this gray, including, oh, not the pilot seat. It doesn't really matter, actually. You can color the pilot seat whatever color you want. It could be purple if you feel like it. Doesn't matter too much. There we go. Now you can go ahead and paint the cockpit red. And I think the inside is red on this one. No, it's not. Okay, that's a little different. It doesn't really matter. Color it red. And that one can be red too. Then we... Oh, okay, so I forgot a part. You're going to need wing panels for this. You need to place one like that. And then I think that's just a 1 by 3, yeah. And then a 1 by 3 delta panel. And it's going to be kind of awkward to place it, so I would recommend placing one there. It'll work fine on this side, but I would recommend placing that there as a placeholder, and then color that too. So it's only consisting of 2 colors in this build, actually, so it's not too difficult. And now if you load it, it should... I should probably just delete the pilot seat and put it over here, but it should look like this. Wait, is that correct? Yes, that's correct, because eventually we're going to add more, and it will make it better. And then, yeah, it looks like madness over here, but it's actually not too bad. It's just a bunch of motor locking, and then that whole tower really isn't necessary. But you want your plane to go fast, so I just built a huge tower. This is when I gotta be careful, because a lot of these normal blocks can end up being blocks that are used for other things. It's like, that's a helium block. That's a piston. I don't know why it's a piston. Oh, that's the landing gear leg. Okay, I know that's a piston then. But we're gonna grab that piston, actually. I was questioning why that's a piston. But nope, it's the landing leg. And I'm pretty sure the settings are the same as the last one. And then color that. Oh, that's cool. Wait, that's kind of like something I was doing. Yo. Yeah, I was making an underground base. That's cool. Okay. Then helium block. And then 2 normal. And it's probably the same on the other side, right? Yeah. So then grab helium blocks. Just 1. Place 1 there and there. And then place 2 normal after it. Now you should be able to grab the wedge 1 by 2s and place them like this to connect everything together. And you're actually going to do the same on top, the wedge 1 by 2s. Then grab, yet again, another helium block. There's a lot of helium, okay? Because the back end was a lot heavier than the front, so there's a lot of helium. In the front also, we had to add little fins up there for the lift, otherwise it didn't go up, because you couldn't really make it go up, because it kept flipping over. Because when all the lift is in the back, it's not going to work as well as it should. So that made it difficult. Oh, and yeah, for pretty much all the helium blocks, make sure the applied at center is off. Or not pretty much all the helium blocks. all of the helium blocks. Make sure applied center. Oops. No, I accidentally. Yeah, but make sure applied center is off, because if applied center is not, then it's not going to act right. So just try to make sure you have that off. Now, we can do the back. So grab that, and then triangle wedges like this. Boom. And then I think we just have normal wedges here as well. So pretty simple in the back. And that's pretty much the base shape of this vehicle. It's not like the biggest thing in the world. It's pretty small. It's actually... Here, wait. How many blocks is it? It is only almost about 300 blocks, and that's not very many. So, not too many blocks involved. Now you got a piston there, and then piston there, and then helium block there. Okay, so not sure the whole thing with the piston. Oh yeah, I was trying to make like the super fast engines, and I think they used pistons. I think. And I don't know if that actually worked, because when I added them, I didn't really notice much of a difference. But I mean, I'm just gonna assume it did. So then add a helium block there. Now you can add the plate cylinders over here. And now you could get back to what we were doing, where you grab your gray coloring, paint everything that color, other than the very back engines and that little knob on the door. It looks a little silly if you paint it the same color. Now, color schemings don't really matter, but I'll give you all the stuff for the colors I used. For the 3 designs I came up with coloring. There you go. And now you're starting to notice a pretty good looking plane here. Now, even without neon, it looks pretty good. I'm just using neon because I think it looks really good with it. But you can use whatever you feel like it. It really doesn't matter what you use. And make sure you get in here. This is an area that would be a little hard to get, but you need to make sure those gray tiles become that gray instead of becoming a light gray. And then plate. Yeah. Or in here, they didn't change, but my other planes, I changed it. So plates. Then you're going to place 2 plates right here, and the same on the other side, and then paint them. That's pretty much it for the inside. I do. There is a sign over here with like the things. You can add that. I could add that in the description later on. What the emojis are for that. But I'm not going to add that yet. Now, these 2 blocks specifically can't be transparent, but the rest can. So that's what we're going to do. So grab compression blocks, and you're just going to make sure that can collide is on and transparent. So just a normal compression block with no changes. Place it like that, and then like that. And then the rest of them have these settings. So now you're going to follow these settings for the rest, pretty much. So now we're just going to create pretty much just a giant tower of compression blocks. So, not sure how tall it is. I'm just going to try to eyeball it, because it's not too tall. But you just place one like that and then flip it over. So, like this, flip it over, and then do what I'm doing right now. Just follow exactly what I'm doing. Or when you're building it, you could also go through and then grab the cylinders, because you want to place cylinders like this. And they have to be oriented like that. So what you could do instead of me placing a placeholder block and then deleting it later on, you could just place a cylinder and then swap back to the compression block to add that. But I think it's too much work. So I just place the placeholder and then I go through into the cylinder. And oh wow, this is way taller than I thought it was. Holy cow. This is a pretty tall angle, or no, compression block tower. The reasoning for that though is, yeah, I was trying to pack as much speed as I could in this tiny little vehicle. So in order to do that, I had to shove all of the boosters, or whatever you call them, hover thrust, into one block. So there's a bunch of hover thrust in one block. And there is guns equipped with this one, I think. There you go. That's the height. So I wasn't really paying attention to the height. So if you guys are designing this, just remember you have to have at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 cylinders going up. And then you'll get to the height in which this is at. And we can either add the speed right now, or we can add the wings. And it doesn't really matter, really. I think we should add the wings. Oh, and then I forgot the hover thrust. Okay. Grab a hover thruster, make it these settings, and then go ahead and put it over wherever the hover thrust is. Grab it, and then put it right here like that. And you don't need to color that. It doesn't really matter because it's going to be hidden in the front of the nose, which is what a lot of it is. So then we'll go just grab panel ones, and then we'll stick them over here like this. And they go up the whole duration of the back. And that is so that it doesn't wobble as much when going insanely fast. Otherwise, the wobble is insane. And like, it's so hard to control. It's already pretty intense, the wobble, when you're going like, I don't know, 2,000 miles an hour. Miles per hour. I don't know what the speed is in this game, but it's already pretty wobbly when you're going that fast. So then you're kind of just like letting it do that, but more. So I would just recommend doing that. Otherwise, it's not going to be very smooth of a ride. Then I guess we could either finish the front right now. I think we should add the wings, and then we could focus on the lifting and the speed, and then the front. Yeah. So we need to add wings, compression blocks, and these ones do matter. So grab compression blocks with these settings. Compression block with those settings. And then you want to place it right there and there. So that's 2 cylinders up. That's for the top one. And then for the bottom one, you go just down 1 cylinder and then place it there and there. And just then, with those cylinders you place down lower, make sure you go in and grab these settings, because you want those settings for cylinders down lower to the ground. There we go. Angle locks. And now this is when you have to just know what angle it's looking at. So place 2 angle locks like that, 4 angle locks. And this one's 15. So the bottom ones, you got to make sure they're angled down. And you'll notice that by looking at this, and you'll see that's angled down. So these are the bottom ones. You want them to be angled down. Your settings might be different, and if it's facing up, just make sure you put negative. Or if you already had negative, just do whatever, fiddle around with it until you get it to 15 degrees down. That's what you want. And then for the top ones, which I think they should work fine, and you want them to be negative, or not negative 30, For me, it was negative 30, but for you guys, it might end up being 30. Like, yeah. So just use these settings in general. More compression blocks. These are the ones that matter. Yep. Wait. What? What? Wait. Pause. What? Whoa, that's really weird. How did I not notice that originally? I pulled the things back. That's so weird. Why would I do that? See, cause then, here, wait. I just gotta make sure this thing still flies. What? That was like the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Like, what? That's like one of my confusing mistakes that I didn't notice. Well, it's only 0.25 of a block, so it's pretty impossible to notice. Oops. Yep, that didn't go well. But, oh right, so it still worked. I was just really confused on my thought process there. Okay, grab these settings. Doesn't matter the orientation really. So just boom, 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 boom. And do the same on the bottom and the top. And then I accidentally placed an extra right there. So same for the bottom and the top. Could have just automatically put them in. There we go. Now we need to add the motors. And these what let it move. And these ones aren't necessary down here. I'm still going to add them though, because if you want even more range of movement when you're rolling, like if you want faster turning, if you have already looked at it, you don't need faster turning. But if you want faster turning, that's something you've got to change. So, yeah, yeah, whatever. So grab those motor 2s, and the orientation does matter if you want the settings to be right the first time you put them in. So you want them to be facing the same on the top and the bottom like this. And then the ones on the other side are the same thing. So the yellow thing is sticking out forward. Now you can grab the top ones, AD, and then put that in. And then the ones on the other side, same thing. And then make sure you got these settings, servo, speed 5, angle 10 degrees. Make sure that you got those settings. And then for the bottom ones, this is just pretty easy. I use escape most of the time, because I mean, you never press escape while you're flying a fighter jet. So the chances of these moving are like super low, but make sure you have servo on as well. The angle really doesn't matter, neither does the speed, neither does just any of this. The servo does matter. If you don't got servo on, then it's going to move with your mouse. So you still don't want that. Now we get to design the wings, though. On to the best part, designing the wings. And they're the same on the top and bottom. So just grab a Delta Wing 4, place it like that, and then grab a Wing Panel 3, and then place 2 like that, 2 like that, and then place a 2 right there. And then grab a Delta Wing 1x2, and then place it like this and this. And then gotta do this to the other side. I forgot I gotta do it to the other side. And then place them like that. And then just get Delta Wing 1x4, and then place it like this. And then that's pretty much the wings done. The wings are designed. I did take inspiration from a design I saw online. So yeah, the not my design. I created this build, but the design is something I found online. And there you go. That's pretty much all you need. So for these, you're going to want to also paint them black, and then we're just going to paint the rest black. Oh yeah, for control surfaces, we place them right here. And you got to make sure that you have two buttons you absolutely never press, because it will move around a little bit when you don't want it to if you have that off. So just make sure you have it on. Two buttons you don't press. There you go. And that's kind of where all the big messiness is. We do have a little bit more up in there. We have this long thing that comes out, that comes off of it and attaches down. You even have like the speed. And speaking of speed, that's what we're going to work on actually. So you need compression blocks with these settings. A lot of compression blocks around this area. If you've seen my F16, you'd know I do a lot of compression blocks in areas. That's weird. Whoa, what? Okay, wait, sorry, I just got really confused. I get it now. Okay? So never mind, you want these settings. I get so confused there. It really wasn't that confusing. You want compression blocks in these settings. So just pretty much just, you know, and then place them like this right here. And then you need hover thrust. But first we're going to place the wing panel one by one, like that and that. And then it's pretty much that the whole way up on the front, with the gun being on top of the lifting hover thrust. Yeah, it's a little weird, okay? And then you can't forget gyros. So place a gyro. The settings don't matter, but if you would like to change it to certain settings you'd prefer pressing instead of H, you could change it to anything. Sometimes I even like using X. But make sure set rotation is off. I didn't do that here, but you do want to do it, because set rotation is on and you accidentally press that key, then it will be rotated in a weird direction while you're trying to land vertically. So you don't want that. Hover thrust, and these are where you get the thrust forward. And yet again, these settings don't matter. Or they do matter, but you just, like, depends on how you want to use them. If you want your settings to be different from that, like if you like W instead of R to go faster, then use W. And for up and down, use a different key. Same for turning. If you prefer something other than A and D, then pick another key. It doesn't matter too much on what keys you use. It's just about making sure that it works. But then after you get past that, then we go back to having these settings. The settings are the same for pretty much all the hover thrust for the upward motion. So just grab that and then place it right there. And there's all that weirdness. That's pretty much it up front. We just need to add this long pole that comes out and attaches to the front. But once you get that, then you're done with the run of the plane, and then pretty much the rest of the plane just consists of adding a bunch of these thrusters. So you can go ahead and check out how it's looking. Just make sure. There you go. So just press G, and that will lift it there. There you go. That's how the front's looking. So you pretty much got the whole design done. Like, you're pretty much done designing it. The issue is, I mean, yes, it flies, but we have no lift on that one over there. And this one doesn't have, like, as much as we need. So it works, just not done. Now we're going to go back to painting. Paint those red. Don't forget, I forgot. But don't forget, you got to paint these black. And specifically black because that's what's visible. Paint that red. You don't need neon, but if you want neon, you can add that. I'm going to add it because it looks really good. And then up here, you're also going to want to add black to pretty much the whole thing. Then you're done with that. Now we're going to build this giant thing sticking out of the front of the plane. So, looks like for this, you're just going to go right there, and then compression. I think all of these are actually just... okay. Whoa, okay. So most of the compression blocks do absolutely nothing. So grab the compression blocks. And the reason I'm using compression instead of cameras, when they do absolutely nothing, cameras, they collide with things. They're cool, but you can collide with them. And that's not cool. Because then you're over here colliding with stuff that's invisible. And invisible's fun. I like having invisible stuff so it's easier to, like, I don't know, make your builds look nice. But it really does make it difficult. Wait, I feel like I messed that up here. And we'll check. We'll check. We'll check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. That needs to be placed like that. And then grab these settings. And then replace them for the first or the last 3 over here. You see this? You want that to be that, that, and that. Oh, and then I looking at this and I'm seeing something else too. And then grab these settings. And then this is the block that they sit on and put them like that. We are almost done with this tutorial, guys. I don't know how long it's been, but we are almost done. What's up? Do I have a Discord server? No, I don't. It's been almost an hour long, so not taking as long as it needs to be, because we're almost done. So this isn't that long of a tutorial, and I'm kind of glad, because my other tutorial was insanely long. We'll just say that. It was pretty long tutorial. So yeah, place motor 2s like that. And then grab these settings specifically. These are for the up and down. So if you want something else, just use different things. Servo, speed 5, max angle 45, just all these. And you need them to be like that. There you go. Then get a delta wing 1x2, like this. Then you're good on that part. And you're going to need a delta wing 1x4. And you're going to want to place, I place a placeholder one there, otherwise it's kind of really difficult to place. And there you go. There's the delta wing. Yet again, painting. You don't need to paint the invisible blocks, but you do need to paint certain blocks. So then get red, boom, and then neon. Boom. There you go. That's the front. Now, we just gotta work on the rust, it looks like. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through and grab compression blocks with these settings. And then you kind of just want to watch what I'm doing, because it's not going to be as easy if you're trying to listen to what I'm doing. You want to watch, because it makes it better. And you're just going to go here and do that. So on every cylinder, you're going to place blocks like that. There you go. So there should be a total of, in the end, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 layers of those blocks. And then go grab panels, and then this will make it easier to spot where they are, otherwise the layers are kind of hard to see. So, wing panels like that. Then, ooh, that's a cool looking build. I like the custom door over there. That's kind of cool. Anyways, then you need hover thrust. And with these hover thrusts, yet again, just use the settings you want for going faster or slower. Really doesn't matter. I would just choose ones that fit. And then, here, I might go in here and delete the pilot seat. And replace it with a main pilot seat. Huh. Yeah, You guys should have already placed this main pilot seat in here. I just didn't place it because it's not the main plane. Okay, once you got all those placed, then you're going to want to grab those hover thrust like I was talking about before I decided to fix something that I messed up. Any settings you want for speeding up or slowing down. Sometimes shift could actually work pretty well. I mean, it really doesn't matter what you use. Just make sure you orientate it like this. Otherwise, it's not going to speed up or slow down how you want it to. I also forgot something. So after we're done adding these engines, we're going to add another thing, and then we're going to finish the engines. There you go. So that's pretty much all of the thrust you'll have. So it's not as much as some planes, but it is still a decent amount. And it's not as much as other planes because those other planes are bigger. I designed this to be small, so it's not like insanely large, because I see a lot of planes, like fighter jets, that are huge, and they look really silly because they're too big. So I designed it to be a little smaller. But what I'm doing right here is just makes this. Now we can go through and color again. So you want red on all of these panels going up with the engines. And then the gray can go over on what we just made. And then make sure, if you don't have neon, it doesn't matter. But I would add neon up here, because the neon does make it look like a more alien-like plane. So there you go. The neon is there. Now we're going to need lift. So in the back here, you're going to grab these settings. I am going a little fast. Pause if you need. Grab those settings. And then I got to find the thruster. Boom. Boom. There you go. And then place it like that. And you're going to do that on all of them. So between the wing panels. And then, depends on if you're wanting to play PvP with this plane. If you don't want to play PvP with a plane like this, what in the world? But if you don't want to play PvP with a plane like this, then I wouldn't add this. But if you're playing PvP, okay, I can't. This guy's being very loud with the music. Yeah. It's probably copyrighted, but it's okay. But then add the guns on top of all the hover thrust, other than the very bottom one. Because you can't fit it right there, because there's already something on top. Well, there's only one thing left to do. And that's test. So go ahead and press G, and then press H. If it wasn't already engaged. The heck? Oh, that's weird. Nice. Is it even engaged? No, that gyro's doing absolutely nothing. What? Here, wait. Sometimes gyros fail, okay? I have to rejoin. That's really weird. Save your build if that happens. As a matter of fact, a lot of the time, this happens to me, where you're playing a game, you're having fun, you load your build, and then all of a sudden parts are falling off even though they're attached to something. That happens a lot. So what you have to do to fix that is I usually just leave the game and then rejoin it, and then usually it ends up working fine. So that should work now. Nope, still not working. Okay, that's so weird. That is so weird. Okay. I don't know what the issue is here. Just increase the strength, maybe? Maybe it's because I already have another... No, that is so weird. That is so weird. That is the weirdest thing I've seen. No, like, that's so weird. Maybe you need it something to rotate it. Yes, do these settings. Okay, guys, let's see. What is happening? What? That is... No, that's broken. What? Come on, game. You're better than this. Okay, and we're also missing a transparent block somewhere. Right there. Okay, that's so weird. Maybe just replace the gyro, delete it, and then place a new one, maybe? I just find that, like, so weird. Or is it because I painted over the colored blocks? It might have been that. I don't know. That was really weird. Okay. Here, let's fix that here. Boom. Okay, and then I'm just gonna paint the green and the blue. And the red. And the green, blue, red. There we go. Now it worked. Okay, well, if your gyro doesn't end up working, just go ahead and replace it. But here's how to fly, because you might need to know the controls. Oh, those are messed up. Okay. So you want those to go up at the same angle each time? No, not that one. I'm talking about the one I'm in. But you want them to go up at the same time. So those are opposite on this one. As a matter of fact, we could actually just chuck this one. Okay. That should be good. Didn't go away. There we go. Here's the plane we're working on. And since those are opposite of each other, you need one of them. So we'll do SW. There you go. And we'll hope that works. So now you can press G to pull the gear out. You can press H to turn off the gyro. To go up, I use the arrow keys up and down. So we're going to use arrow keys up to go up. And then when you pull S, which is to go up, you could use W to go up. You could use whatever. I use that. And now R is to go forward. I would pull the gear in, and then you want to press H while flying. And then it should work fine. Forgot to paint part of it, apparently. And now increase speed. It should go around 2,000 miles an hour. And that's weird. It's a lot of wobbling. That's really weird. Okay, it's not going as fast as usual either. But S should go up, A and D to roll, okay? Maybe I shouldn't have deleted that. Here, wait a second. Okay, what? That's a little confused. Oops. Nope, I didn't mean to do that. That's really weird. Yeah, I don't know about this. This is kind of not what should have happened. That's so weird. Okay. Why is it doing that? It's acting stupid. You're not stupid, plane. That's really weird. Okay, here. We'll save it. And then we'll load this. No, it's the same thing. It's just, why does it, no. Okay, that's so weird, okay? I don't know what that is, okay? Please don't ask me. Here, let's see. If yours is doing that, it shouldn't, by the way. No. There's like nothing in there that would do that. Eh, the wobble's annoying. I don't know the issue either. This stuff is so weird. Like, why all of a sudden does it decide to wobble when it never decided to wobble beforehand? I mean, look, this is the same thing. And where's the wobble at, okay? Wait, I think I know where the wobble's at. I do know where the wobble's at. Oh, it was the pilot's error. Okay. So when you're piloting it, make sure you press G and make sure H is engaged. And then you could hold up arrow. That will make it go up. Not very high, but it will make you go up for the vertical takeoff. Now you're going to want to hold R. And then when you press H, make sure you hold down arrow to turn off the vertical takeoff. And then press G. And it's going to be a little hard to fly slowly. And then you can engage throttle. And then should work better. Yeah, I think it's working better, right? No, it's still a little wobbly. I don't know. See, it's like wobbly at some points. It's still insanely fast like it should be. I mean, still works, right? If you're experiencing this, I don't know what to do actually. Anyways, yeah, even if it wobbles, it's still a cool plane. But wait, what? What? Wait a second. There's one extra block somewhere. One? One extra block? What? Where? Oh. Wait, no, that's really weird. I have two extra blocks. Okay, this is the original. And then here's the tutorial. I really feel like I'm like so really confused. I mean, what in the world? Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to troubleshoot what just happened. I'm really concerned and really confused. Where is there an extra block? Bro, I hate this game, bro. I do stuff like this and then it punishes me like this. Ugh, bro. I'm really not noticing any difference. feel like there's a lot of things wrong with like the controlling of it. I mean, yeah, it could be the motor locking. I mean, it looks normal to me. I really hate this gyro. I'm just gonna get rid of it for now to see if the wobble still happens even without a gyro. It does. Okay, well, there's 2 extra blocks, and I don't know where those extra blocks are. I mean, it still works, okay? There's an extra block, but it works. Anyways, that's pretty much the end of that. If you want to build this, go build it. If you're just here to watch, then you can watch. Just remember to make sure you keep that gyro that I deleted there. You want to keep it there. So, yeah, that's the end of this awesome looking build. I'm just going to pretend that this is the one we built together, okay, guys? Just pretend it's the one we built, okay? Thanks for helping us build this awesome build. If you want to see it in its full glory, I like Shader 3. Shader 3 is a pretty cool thing to look at it with. But go ahead and build it for yourself if you want to. If you don't want to, it's good. It's not, like, the best thing in the world, but it's still a pretty cool build, so I would recommend trying it, because it's not too difficult to make either. But this is what it should look like, the final product. So, thanks for watching. Hope y'all enjoyed. And I'll probably make another video soon. So, goodbye.